We're here today as part of a nationwide action by Extinction Rebellion to tell the truth. On the 20th of October 2021, Christopher Pincher, the MP for Tamworth, voted to block Amendment 45 to the Environment Act 2021. This amendment would have required water companies to show improvements in sewerage systems and reductions in harm caused by untreated sewage discharge. Investment is needed now by water companies to update antiquated systems. 30 years of privatisation has provided shareholders with billions of pounds in profits. We have a clear message to the water companies and the government. Clean up your act. Stop dumping raw sewage into our waterways. We're doing this for our children, the planet, and to prevent more loss of diversity. I'm now going to invite Sarah to come and speak. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Sarah, and just say a few words for us. Thank you.
Cheers, Sue. Hi, I'm Sarah Daniels, and I have been invited here today in that I have a civic role, but I've known Sue and several people here for many years, and they know that I'm someone who likes to help out when I need to see change. Being part of the Pride Committee for Tamworth, I support the volunteering work at the Holiday Inn, and I'm a teacher, and it's that idea of the damage that is currently being done for our future generations that brought me here today. If you go onto the River Trust website, you will see that at rivertrust.org, the government's literally dirty, not so secret shame of what's happening to our rivers today. The River Trust map will show you where the sewage network discharges overflows of untreated sewage and stormwater into our rivers. You will see that there are cases of this happening in Polesworth, in Two Gates, on the Glascote Road, and just down that way, the Lichfield Road, where my dad lives. So this is where the personal becomes political. And you know that the situation happening with our rivers is happening elsewhere in terms of how we are treated as citizens in our country, how our government thinks that the people of Tamworth and the nation do not need financially responsible leaders, do not need to listen to workers with their recent strike action, and do not think that we, the people of Tamworth and England, need to have an environment that's going to be sustainable for the future. Untreated sewage from water companies is responsible for 35% of water pollution. Indeed, even 90% of 20,000 licensed sewer overflows are discharged into our rivers. And 2022 saw a criminal investigation into England's water companies. The polluting of our rivers is a crime. We deserve leaders. We deserve people who are better, who will not endorse this corporate criminal behaviour. And I know that's why people have come here today. That's why we're here today. We deserve better.
Thank you. And then we've also got Jan, who I'd like to invite to just say a few words.
Hello everybody, my name's Jan Wadrup. I'm a resident of Tamworth, and I've also, same as Sarah, got civic duties. As we know, all life as we know it is entirely reliant on fresh water. Fresh water makes up only 2.5% of all water. All water in the world is fresh water, and less than 1% of this is accessible. This is in rivers, streams, lakes and similar. A large proportion is locked up in ice. Fresh water is needed for drinking water, cooking, cleaning, agriculture, irrigation, industry and power generation. In addition, 10% of all known species live in fresh water and are entirely reliant on it to continue to exist. It has never been so important as now to protect our freshwater environments. This is acknowledged by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, Goal 6, ensure availability and sustainability management of water and sanitation for all. I campaigned with WaterAid to have this included in the latest version of the UN Millennium Goals, as unbelievably, this was not included in the original ones. Sewerage discharges into freshwater systems result in changes to the delicate nature balance of the system by the introduction of substances, germs, bugs, pathogens and parasites that would not normally be there without humans' activity putting it in. Raw sewage is very dangerous. Exposure to it creates a lot of health risks, which are often serious. The effect of sewerage within a freshwater system, such as rivers or streams and lakes, represents damage to the system in lots of ways that are significant for both people and for wildlife, some of which are really difficult to recover from. It is well known that sewerage in drinking water has caused outbreaks of diseases that can kill the people reliant on that water. Cholera, for example, typhoid fever, diarrhoea, and other bacterial infections such as salmonella, viral infections such as poliomyelitis, as detected in London wastewater last year, 2022, and parasite infections such as a variety of worms, including potentially tapeworm and other pathogens and cryptosporidium. The list is huge, and the reason that clean drinking water is essential for the health and well-being of a community. These risks are not just from drinking contaminated water, but also from contact, putting people and animals at risks through any contact with contaminated water with raw sewage in it. Open water swimmers, kayakers, paddlers and dog waters have been asked to avoid contact with the water during and after sewerage spills. This is absolutely outrageous. It's an everyday natural occurrence that should happen, and we should be free to roam and we should be free to swim in our rivers. Fresh water is also used in crop irrigation, and if contaminated, those pathogens and parasites can also contaminate our food crops if contaminated water is used for that irrigation. Sewage pollution can also cause rapid algae growth, starving rivers of the oxygen that the insects, fish and other wildlife need to live, and hitting other species, all the way to the top of the food chain, including otters and kingfishers. This is because the matter in the sewerage, pee and poo, is made up of nutrients that are very rare in natural freshwater systems. The nitrates in ammonia in the wee and the organic solids in the poo put nutrients, another name for food, into the water in such a way that fast-growing things like algae can grow rapidly. The oxygen they use to do so takes the oxygen out of the water, preventing plants and animals from surviving in such poor oxygen conditions, and also disrupting the normal way the system works, and can lead to algal blooms, where the growth of algae causes toxins to build up in the water, resulting in mass fish die-offs and other devastating consequences to people and wildlife. Lastly, over the course of 2020, the figures show that the discharges from Severn Trent went on for 558,698 hours between them, equivalent to 23,279 days, or 64 years. 64 years worth of raw sewage dumped into our rivers and streams by Severn Trent, and this was also recorded by ITV News Central. And and I hope together that we can tackle these companies and make sure that our future, for my children, my grandchild there and their grandchildren, that they can live freely and openly without having all these restraints and the awful thing that Christopher Pincher has done. He's got no regard for the community and our future generations. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dan. That was really impassioned, and I think educated all of us with all of that. Thank you so much. We've learnt a lot. Perhaps if we could have a nice little close-up of the wonderful plaque that we are giving to Christopher Pincher MP, who clearly prefers to put profit above people and the planet. Thank you, Chris. Nice one, Chris. Well done.